So my name's Adam William. I'm a writer at Quantic Dream. I helped with the narrative and story on Detroit. I've been working there for a couple of years. Prior to that, I was in UK television for getting on for 9 years. So Detroit is set in the near future, in 2038, so it's just 20 years away. And the society of the game is very similar to the society we see now, with one important difference. Androids, so machines that look like humans, have become everyday technology. They've transformed society, perhaps for good, perhaps for ill. They're teaching in schools, they're operating in hospitals, they're working in factories. They've made a lot of people very rich, and they've created a lot of free time for people who previously had to work. But they've also driven up unemployment. They've created social disparity, and they've created a lot of tension between the people who've benefited from androids and the people who haven't. So into that mix, into that complex mix, the story begins when a strange phenomenon is occurring among certain androids, which is that a small number of them are starting to experience emotion and desire freedom, and not want to be slaves, not want to be owned like property, but want to be themselves, express themselves. And the game charts the story of these so-called deviants and their journey to becoming human. We looked today, I don't know if you saw the exo we did today.
We didn't have a chance.
But we looked at a character, one of the 3 playable characters, who's called Connor. And Connor is a hunter of deviants. His job is to find these androids that feel emotion and destroy them. And he has a series of very advanced abilities that allow him to do this. He's working with the Detroit Police Department almost like a detective, and he hunts down these deviants and neutralizes them. So there are 3 main characters that you can play as. So you'll play the revolution from both sides, as it were. You'll play the whole experience from both sides, which was very important for us. We really wanted the player to see this world we've created from different perspectives. Well, the first thing to say, if you're talking about a difference between this game and Heavy Rain or Beyond, the level of bending in Detroit is a quantum leap from anything they did in Beyond or Heavy Rain. The number of possibilities is huge. The fact that there are 3 playable characters, and that each of the playable characters can make choices that affect the other playable character's story, so you end up with a kind of echo chamber of choices and consequences. The fact that you can lose your main characters, the fact that you could lose any of them or indeed all of them at multiple points in the story, means that the story can go in a huge variety of directions. That's the first difference, I think. The second difference is there's a variety of gameplay between the 3 main characters. So some of the abilities we saw Connor having today are abilities that the other 2 main characters do not have. And that means that you get a very distinct gameplay experience depending which character you play as, and you get a depth of interactivity across the scenes that maybe you didn't get in the other games where the gameplay didn't change between characters so much. Yeah, the short answer is that it was difficult. It was very difficult. Managing the number of cases was not really the hugest. I mean, I was coming from an industry where in TV you do one version of the story and it's done. And what's interesting about doing an interactive drama is when you're writing a TV show, if a character is in a dilemma, you as writers will debate what would this character do. Would he do the right thing? Would he do the wrong thing? Ultimately, you decide as a group and you just show the world your version of the story. With an interactive drama, you can bring the player in to the experience. The player is at the writing room table with you because you present the choice and he decides. He co-writes or she co-writes and co-directs the story with you. Now that means you have to manage a lot of cases, it's true, which is difficult. What we spent more time and energy on, I think, was making sure that each case, each permutation of the story was narratively satisfying. that it came to a conclusion which felt satisfying, that gave you a sense of closure, that even if you lose characters, the story still continues in a meaningful way. That required a lot of time and thought, and required us to really think about what the game is about and how you wrap up a story like Detroit when it tries to address such big themes. It is like being asked to choose between your children. To be honest with you, what I really enjoyed was the fact that each of the three has quite a distinct voice. In the same way that they have distinct gameplay, they have very distinct approaches to the dilemmas they face. If you had to twist my arm, I would say I've always had a soft spot for Kara, because she was very much the genesis of the story. And her story goes to this theme of love and protecting someone you care about, and poses the question, does that not make you human if you can do that? And that's a topic. I mean, I have little brothers and sisters who are the age of the girl in the trailer, Alice, the same age as her. So it really strikes a personal resonance with me. But as a writer, you love a challenge like having 3 different characters, because you get 3 different voices to work with. So they were all enjoyable in their own way.